Okay, so far we've mostly been looking at more direct linear attacks, and that makes setting postures easier, particularly moving forwards, because all your weight can just set forward over the foot and press it down into the floor. But obviously for more practical stuff, we need to use things like hooks or hitting him from the side or moving, and that changes the way that we set postures. So we have to think about drills and training that teaches us how to do that, and that's what we want to move on, start looking at now. So let's start with this very basic posture. It's a leading step using a seeking step landing, and then a step out, a fan step out to the side, followed in with the rear hand hook. And if we watch again closely, you can see how dynamic and explosive the fan step is as we step out. So we kind of jump into that posture, and that's all adding extra zing into the posture, and also it's making sure that the posture is very fast. So let's listen to that. Listening to it, we can hear that the rhythm is like 1-2 with an emphasis on the 1. Just that lasts a little bit longer. Watch again. 1-2. Watch again. Remember, learning through rhythm. 1-2. 1-2. And that emphasis, of course, is caused by that extra step out, which slows down the timing. We can compare that to this, where there's no step out, and look, it's 1-2. Watch again. 1-2. 1-2. There's no step out and there's no extra emphasis. And then let's compare with the first one. And then again, watch the second one, and you can see that these are two completely different ways of setting the posture, although they're both completely legitimate. They just set differently. So this one uses a kind of 1 and 2, 3. See the footwork? The footwork is quite busy, and each posture has its own clear set. The jab sets on the lead foot, and then the rear hand hook sets on the rear foot. 1 and 2, 3. But it's overdetermined as a posture because using the fan step also stabilizes the posture, because the hook is twisting our body round to the side. And also, see, the hook is actually quite a small posture, so the fan step helps to add volume to it, making it a bigger posture overall. In that case, we can say we've emphasized power, and that's why we used a more complex set. But watch the second version. This time we use a very simple set, or a much simpler set, 1-2. It still sets the lead hand punch on the lead foot, the rear hand hook. I wouldn't even say we've compounded the movement. It's the fan step is an extra movement. We've just cut that out in this case because we want to prioritise speed, and that's not something you very often see in old Yiquan, but it's something you see a lot in modern Yiquan. Obviously it's important to be able to choose between emphasising speed or emphasising power, but more importantly is to intuitively know when to do which, when to go all out, put all the power in, or when you need to drill through, use speed, overwhelm, bamboozle. Now take a look at this. This is something we've got to be very clear about in each one. We often bring these postures up to the hip point and freeze them, and there's lots of reasons for doing this, as we've looked at before. It's not just to check your posture, it's because we want to use the ability to move structurally immediately into another posture without any kind of setup. And we do this very simply, like building blocks. We stop at the hip point. That also helps to train us in setting the posture and the transmission of force. At that point, if everything's correct, that's why we experience the whole body set, where the whole body compresses with the strike, and that helps transmit the force into the hip point. And we'll come back to that, of course, at another time. We mentioned it before, but we'll come back to it. The thing is, it all works perfectly fine as long as you hit the target, but if you do hit the target, you can help use that to ping your arm back into place. But what if you miss the target? So if you miss the target, you can easily go off balance, and people do all the time with hooks. So being able to throw the hook is one thing, being able to stop it dead is another, being able to hit a bag, being able to bring it into sparring, but also being able to bring the hook back into place. So you've expended so much energy moving out over to the side. You want to be able to bring the hook back to the guard position, and that's masked when we freeze postures with hit and stop. It's masked that we have to do that. And how many times have I said, how many times do we see people who are good at each one, but they're only at that stage of being able to issue force in one direction. And by that I mean in the same posture. So a punch hits out, stops, and then moves back. Or being able to issue force in one direction, then instantly from the same strike into another direction. That is a level of skill that we don't see enough of. In this case, it's not quite that we're looking for, but we need to be able to pull the hit back. So we need to be able to pull it back to a guard position from the hit and stop. Okay, let's change posture. So this time we're going to do a leading step that compounds immediately into a push step. So watch carefully, it's only 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. So the first one's a leading step, and then it immediately compounds into a push step. And you could see I went a little bit off balance there doing it slowly, because the push step is landing as a lead hand hook, and that's making a difference to the way the posture sets. So we can't just land the seeking step flat. It's got to be up on the ball of the foot for the pivot root. In other words, we're not going to land with the flat seeking step and then twist up into the hook. We're going to do the twist into the hook as we step and land in this empty stance. And can you hear the rhythm? It's 1 and 2. So watch 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Listen again. When we speed it up, that's going to change. That's going to be a whippier 1 and 2, 1 and 2, as we'll see in a moment. And also, by doing it faster, we're not spending too much time in that middle posture where you can go off balance. It's going to be fast, it's going to be snappy. Listen to the sound it makes when we do it whippy and full speed. Okay, so I'll do it the other way. Remember, we've always got to try and train to be ambidextrous in each one, but you'll hear that there's a difference in the way that I set it, depending which side I'm doing it, and that's because, well, we're not machines. Our social intent has been trained so that we favour one side, left-handed or right-handed, and I don't believe that that's actually natural. I think that's mostly caused by, even if there's something there that's natural, I mean, I'm naturally left-handed, there's something there that's caused by socialisation. It's drilled in by socialisation. And by the time we come to start training, or even if someone like, or people like the Yao brothers who've been training all their lives, nevertheless, you can see even when they do standing, the right hand is usually higher. It's almost impossible to drill out that you will be different on the left side and the right side, and you can hear that in the way that people set postures. So let's hear the orthodox way first. And now the southpaw way. Listen to the difference in the set. Or maybe you can't hear it, but in the southpaw way, the last bit of the posture is nowhere near as prominent as in the other way of doing it. Very interesting anyway.